This is Sam Pumpkin with an October invocation from the cult of the Great Pumpkin. Pumpkins and peanuts, witches and bats, we call the Great Pumpkin wherever he's at. Halloween candy and Halloween cheer, it's time once again for that fun kind of fear. Spooklings and spirits who adore Halloween, your magic's required to transform the scene. Halloween lovers, October's returned. Let's treat the world to the tricks that we've learned. Sincerely we summon thee, pumpkin of fright, to dance with us all on Halloween night.
From the deepest, darkest corners to the backwoods swamp we hit the bottom. From the inside of your casket to the fears lodged deep inside your subconscious. It's time for the Big Scary Show.
This is Blackbeard, Scourge of the Seven Seas, and you're listening to The Big Scary Show.
Yeah, this is Rob from Haunted Appalachian Tavern. Just wanting to wish our staff and all our customers a very, very happy haunting season.
Hi, this is Rex Hamilton, world-famous haunted house actor, and you are listening to The Big Scary Show.
Hi, this is Leslie Bannatyne. I wrote Halloween Nation, Behind the Scenes of American Fright Night, and I'm happy to be on The Big Scary Show.
Hi, this is Chris Kolstrom, author of Making a Monstrous Halloween, Deadly Rolls, and Monster Parties and Games, and I am happy to be here on The Big Scary Show.
Hi, I'm Michael Graves from all sorts of bands that you probably don't know, but one that you might know, including the Misfit Joyce, and to The Big Scary Show.
This week, on a very special Halloween edition of The Big Scary Show, Badger's on the road visiting haunts again. This time, he's at the Haunted Pyramids. He's not in Egypt. He's in rural North Carolina to find out how this very rural haunt puts on some very terrifying scares. We speak with veteran haunt actor Rex Hamilton, a founding member of the Scab Five, to find out a little bit of his history, what he does during Halloween and haunt season, and during the off-season. We bring you another interview by our special correspondent, Dog Soldier, as he talks to Tuesday Night, star of Nightmare on Elm Street 4. We bring you a very special interview with a former singer from the Misfits, Michael Graves, to find out about his solo career, where he's going on the road, and who he's playing with, including an ex-member of the Ramones. The Round Table of Terror talks about what else? Halloween, with Leslie Bannatyne and Chris Kolstrom, authors of a few very, very interesting books on this most holy of holidays. Storm brings you a Halloween rant in a Haunt Minute. The Unknown Scare Actor brings you a special Halloween edition of Face Your Fears. The haunt rocker Jerry Vane spins some extra tunes in honor of this holiday. And we bring you a very special pair of Halloween messages from the one and only Sam Pumpkin. All this and more only on The Big Scary Show.
Hello, everybody. Once again, Drew Badger live out on the road. I'm in Lawndale, North Carolina. Well, if you don't know where that is, not many people do, but they are famous for one absolutely kick-ass haunt. They are the very famous Cook brothers, and they run the Haunted Pyramid, which is going into its 15th year. That's another milestone for a lot of haunted attractions. Never make it to 15 years. But I'm with Tony and Greg Cook. Tony and Greg Cook, how are you guys doing tonight?
Great.
Doing fantastic, Drew.
Excellent. We just got through some actor training here. You had a bunch of guys out here, a bunch of girls out here learning all the ins and outs of the Haunted Pyramid. So for those who may not be familiar with it or in other parts of the country, just what do you expect to see if you come out to a place like the Haunted Pyramids?
Some of the greatest special effects you'll ever see. I actually do that for a living. I worked on dozens of nationwide movies, such as did Hellraiser 3, Children of the Corn 2, did one of the Asylum.
Now, you're not Doug Bradley in disguise, are you? What did you do on these movies?
We do the physical effects, the fire, the bullet hits, the blood off the people, the fun stuff.
Excellent.
That makes it exciting. So we've took that and incorporated it into our haunts here.
So that's just really cool. So you actually have movie-quality special effects here.
That is very true. We also have a lot of real movie props, movie sets that I've got off the movies and stuff, too. So you're going to be seeing and touching and feeling stuff that you can see in the movies.
Very, very cool. And I came out here last year for the first time, walked through all the haunts, and there's 4 of them, and it's very quality. And you have a really cool little, shall we say, museum kind of little display up at the end of one of them.
Yeah, that's true. I collect movie memorabilia, I collect autographs. So there's some very neat things to see that you can't see anywhere else, only here.
And we're actually would like to put up a place just for our movie memorabilia.
So maybe build like a separate room.
For people that...
We've actually outgrown our little space with what I've got in storage. So.
If I recall last year, the building out here that you have, the Asylum, wasn't that not actually used in a movie or something?
Talladega Nights. It was a lot of it come from there. It's not a scary movie unless you're afraid of NASCAR.
I'm afraid of Will Ferrell, so yeah.
Yeah, well, me too, after working with him a little bit. But they donated a lot of set walls and wood. And some of them had a concrete wall look, so I just splattered some blood on it and used it. And we did a movie called Asylum, and I use it, part of that too, in that set also.
So very, very cool, because, a lot of these movie sets, do they just either recycle them or do they throw out some of this stuff? They tear these buildings down? What actually happens on the set of a Hellraiser 3 when they get done with the set?
Unfortunately, they tear it down and destroy it. It goes away because they have to build a new one for the next show. They can't use the same stuff over and over. So once in a while, they'll be nice enough to send stuff our way.
Well, that's very cool, and you incorporate it into the haunt itself.
Oh yes.
Totally. So for people who may travel out this way, what are the 4 areas of the Haunted Pyramids that people can come out and see all this cool stuff?
What do you mean?
The 4 different haunts that you have here. Yeah.
Well, we've got the Haunted Pyramids, which is our biggest, and I think most people consider it the scariest because it's kind of the darkest themed haunt. And we've got the Monster Manor located right beside of the Haunted Pyramids. It's in 3D, and it's another really large haunt too. And it's
pretty good effects in it.
Oh yeah.
Are any of those effects in either of those 2 been used in any of the movies?
I can't say really the effects, the excels that have been used in the movies, but the ideas behind them have definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, we use a couple tricks here that I've never seen in any other haunt ever.
And a lot of times we have a Pinhead room, and we have a flying girl in a body harness, kind of like one of Pinhead's victims. And we used to incorporate, which what we want to start doing again, is if you're familiar with the Hellraiser movies, where the chains would actually shoot out at the people.
Right.
We do them exactly the same, just the same way they were done in the movie. So if you watch the movies,
they'll fly out and stop right in your face.
Lovely, because you don't want people getting impaled by Cenobites or anything.
Right.
There might be a liability issue in that.
And we've got Clown Town, which is another 3D haunt.
Right.
And we've got a big spinning tunnel in there, which is a big draw.
Always. All vortex tunnels always big.
Absolutely. And last, we got the Burke Asylum.
Burke Asylum was the one used in Talladega Nights. The building was.
And the movie called Asylum.
Oh, okay. Very, very cool.
The man that directed it, David Ellis, he also directed Sailor and Snakes on a Plane. So,
the infamous Snakes on a Plane accent.
Yeah.
You ever meet Samuel L. Jackson in your
I never did get to meet him. I haven't met him, no.
Oh, that's a shame. He seems like a very interesting person.
You're right. Absolutely correct.
So, I guess the other question is, why Lawndale, of all places, to build a big haunt like that? This is not a small little charity haunt. This is not a little haunted trail that the JC's put on. This is, in any state in the country, on the outskirts of any big city in the country, this would be frankly, a very, very nice standalone haunt anywhere. But why here? I mean, you're not really close to anything.
That's correct. We were born here. That's the trouble, I guess.
So free land and free buildings is basically.
Exactly. This was originally an old chicken farm.
Okay.
And it's the house we grew up in is over 100 years old, and we've heard ghost stories our whole lives. So it just kind of
our parents were old hauntpreneurs, if you will. They had haunted houses, and we grew up doing it when we were just small kids. We were acting in haunted houses.
Yeah. So it kind of got in the blood there. Did you work at other places and then decide to do your own, or is that what they did as well?
They did a volunteer kind of haunt for the community.
Sure.
To raise money as a fundraiser and stuff, and we grew up doing that. So it's kind of we grew up in our blood a little bit. Then we when we started doing in the movie business, we were working there, and we saw them throwing away all these great sets, and all these carved out rock walls and stuff, and I'm like, can I have that? And they're like, sure. So we brought it here, and a few years later, I'm like, let's build a haunted house out of this stuff, and that's kind of how it started.
And how has, you've been here 15 years, how were the first lean years, I guess, would you say? How have you built such an audience from where you are?
We just try to make it bigger and better, scarier, more entertaining. We've added laser lights this year into the mix of things where it's not necessarily one hallway last year would have been dark. Now, it's a cloud of smoke and two different color laser lights going through, and it's just awesome looking. Instead of just darkness, it's just more entertaining.
And we started out with just this one haunted house, just with the haunted pyramids, and that was it. And it was pretty much just a straight walkthrough. And so we've
you've come a long way. I mean,
absolutely.
So I walked through here last year, and I saw the huge pyrotechnics out in the back. Without giving too much away, it's very impressive, and all the really cool stuff. And even the clowns were, I got to admit, pretty nice and pretty impressive.
I think one thing we have going on here too, to me, this separates us from a lot of haunts is we use probably 12 to 20 different sound systems, and some of them are thousands of watts.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
our sounds are kicking.
Right.
I mean, you're going to hear more than stereo in a room and more than surround sound in certain areas.
Sure.
I think that's one thing. When you really have, I got subs with dual 18s with 4,000 watt amps pushing just those power speakers.
And the sound, I think, is just so important. It's such a huge part of it.
Absolutely.
Turn the volume down on a horror movie, and all of a sudden it becomes comical.
I never really thought about it that way, because, if you heard, like, happy music as the girl is going to open the door and get the spear through the head, I guess it just takes on a whole different turn there.
Some people it makes happier than others.
So what's the newest thing that you've got for 2012 here?
Some educated actors, thanks to you.
Pshaw, come on.
Absolutely.
Because I was here last year, and some of the sets have changed a little bit from what I've seen. Some things have moved around.
Yes,
so.
we're actually trying to make it a little bit more claustrophobic in places. Going for a little scarier haunt this year. I think I think we
always
actually
go scarier.
Oh yes, go scarier, go home.
There you go.
But we started working on it, I'd say January of this year, and the weather got us a little bit there in the summertime. But other than that, we've continued.
It was hot.
Yes, sir. But I definitely think it's going to be a lot better haunt this year than last year.
Now, being that you are where you are, and look up Lawndale, NC on a map, and you'll see there's no major highways within 30 miles, I would guess. No major interstates within, a half hour of here. So
Right.
how long can one expect to come? If you live in Charlotte, or if you live in Asheville, or if you live in Columbia, South Carolina, you're traveling down 77 or 40 or 85, and you decide to take the detour and come through to the backcountry. You're going to make it worth their while. How long would it normally take to go through all 4 houses and see all the stuff, grab a hot dog and a Coke, and just experience this?
You can spend a good evening here. I mean, you're not, unless it's the Saturday or 2 Saturdays before Halloween, you're not going to spend the majority of your time in line. You're gonna spend it inside the houses.
Sure.
They're pretty good sized houses.
So a couple of hours, 3 hours,
sure.
maybe go through everything.
On a slow night, you'll still be a couple hours.
Yeah.
So,
People will go through a haunt. They'll go out and smoke them a cigarette, get them a drink or some cheese fries or something, and chill out. Then go through another one.
There you go.
And it's a very enjoyable.
So it's a
atmosphere.
destination spot. It's not just something where you go out to dinner, come to the haunted house, then go to the movies. You kind of got a plan to come here.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
It's absolutely.
We have
worth it.
people come here and will sit around, bring chairs, and just watch other people get scared. They won't go through it. They just come for the entertainment of watching other people. And they're terrified to go inside it, but they'll come bring your chairs and just sit out for a night.
That sounds like fun, actually.
Yeah.
Especially on a cold night. A
we
thermos of
usually
hot
put
chocolate
a
or
barrel
coffee.
out there with fire in it and stuff. They'll sit around
very
the fire
cool.
barrel.
So for people who may be intrigued by this, the fact that you guys both work on movie sets, or you work, you've worked on Homeland of late.
Yeah, the
You've
TV
worked
series.
on.
There's a new one for Cinemax coming out in 2013 called Banshee. It's a very
You've worked
exciting
on
show.
that, and who want to see maybe some of these new movie quality props and effects and all that cool stuff, or just want to find this place and come out to it, frankly. How would they go about getting directions, ticket information, schedules, and all that stuff?
Just go to hauntedpyramids.com. They can find us on Facebook, The Haunted Pyramids, there on Facebook, and it's we can be found on the websites. The internet. Internet's a great source.
Oh
and,
yes, I'm sure the
punch us in
introduction of
GPS.
that has upped your attendance
It
quite
has.
a bit.
We've had people flying in now from different parts of the United States because of the website.
Really?
And
Awesome.
And staying here in town. We have people from Knoxville, Tennessee traveling in, people from Virginia now are traveling here, from
Sure.
Raleigh and stuff a lot. So
Is some of that due to the fact that you've worked on movies and
I
you
think it's
tell your
word
friends
of
if you
mouth.
worked there?
I think
Okay.
because we're so far out in the country, I think it's the testimonials and word of mouth.
Excellent.
So that's the only thing I can figure. I met a man in Charlotte the other day, and I told him I lived near Shelby, North Carolina, a little town called Lawndale. He said, "Is that up near that haunted house place?" Swear. And he had no. I said, "Which one?" He said, "I can't remember the name of it, but he said I know the guy got some movie sets." I said, "The Haunted Pyramids." He said, "Yeah, that's it." I said, "Well, I own the place." He goes, "You're kidding."
It's really
just
been
a coincidence.
It's really been amazing. I mean, the first 15 years ago when we started out here, we used to go sit outside and literally just sit out there sometimes 20, 30 minutes, and we'd jump up. Somebody jump up.
Yeah,
And
see a car
Here comes
coming.
a car.
Yeah,
Go get your places.
and now it's like, gosh, where'd they come from?
It's really been amazing. I mean, we had no idea it would turn into this.
But I'd say word of mouth and the reputation of us being a good quality, scary place to come.
And it just kind of proves that you can find gems like this in the most unexpected places. Because
That's
you
right.
don't have billboards going up and down the highway. You
No.
don't have road signs. Lawndale's got, 3,000 people, 4,000?
no.
Yeah, if that.
1,200.
Well, 3,000 with Lawndale
Yeah.
Heights
Yes, so there
and
you go.
Polkton and those other places incorporated. You might have 5,000 around. Who
Yeah,
knows? But that's not your target audience.
Right,
You're bringing
of
them from
course not.
Shelby and Hickory and
Right,
Charlotte and all
you
that.
know,
So very, very
30
cool.
minutes from Hickory and, 15 minutes from Shelby, North
Sure.
Carolina, 1 hour west of Charlotte. So
it ain't too terrible to get here. I'm just kind of
it's not
elaborating
the end
and
of the world,
embellishing a
but you
little
can't
bit.
see it from here. you know,
Absolutely. But I think that's actually a benefit, too, because you don't have to get necessarily influenced by other haunts in the area.
Correct.
Well, they're doing that, so we have to do this, too.
Yeah,
because
we've built, because we when we started out, we couldn't afford to buy the big high dollar props.
Sure.
If we saw them, we would build our own. And it's just like the air blast we use. We built them big. I mean, so they're
Oh, the
bigger
ones you
than the
showed
ones
me
you
today
buy,
were
yeah.
fantastic. I've never seen that. And the handheld air blasters
Yeah.
you were showing me earlier, those are, wow. I can't wait to see those So anyway, once again, hauntedpyramids.com to get directions, which you'll need. Ticket information, schedules. You're open all the big dates in October and all through Halloween, and having a great old time here in Lawndale, North Carolina. Tony Cook, Greg Cook, best of luck to you again on some of the movie sets you're working on. I can't wait to, you're filming down in Charlotte a little bit. I might have to come down and watch you blow something up sometime. That'd be fun to watch. And once again, this is Drew Badger live on the road for the Big Scary Show at the Haunted Pyramids in Lawndale, North Carolina. And I am out.
Do you hear that? The asylum is being overrun. It's time to go to Von Caron Productions and check out the Insane Ensemble. For those troublesome lunatics, they have the commitment coat, a straitjacket designed to keep them restrained. Or, if you're the doctor who likes to experiment, then the psychosurgical coat was made just for you. Go to Von Caron Productions, www.voncaron.com. That's VONCHARON, Von Caron Productions. Get there before you too are infected by the madness.
Wednesday 13th, Halloween 13/13 on the Big Scary Show.
Hey little girl, don't be scared. Just take this candy from my hand. Tonight's the night when the dead rise from their graves. Don't be afraid, girl. Don't be afraid.
It is my pleasure to introduce to you the Big Scary Show's special correspondent. We bring you Dog Soldier.
Dog Soldier here with Tuesday night from Nightmare on Elm Street 4. Tuesday, how's the convention been for you this weekend?
Oh, it's been really great. I've really enjoyed meeting all the people here on the East Coast. They're so nice. I can't believe it.
Okay, so how did you get involved with Nightmare on Elm Street 4?
Well, I auditioned for it, for Rennie Harlan, and then I got the part. That's how I got into it. And then because I was the first one cast, I sort of helped pick out the rest of the cast, so that was really fun.
Now, were you a fan of Nightmare on Elm Street before you got involved with the movie?
Absolutely. Big, huge fan. I remember getting the part and just flying out of there down the stairs, just screaming almost. I was so excited.
Now, when you got the role, did you think about trying to mimic Patricia Arquette?
No, actually, I never did. I just I watched her performance, I watched what she did with it, and then I just kind of went. I kind of went with my own, interpretation of it, and that's what I did.
Are you surprised at the success and popularity of the series, Nightmare on Elm Street?
Not really. I'm not surprised because Freddy's so amazing. I mean, he's so great. He's so funny and scary and funny at the same time. He's great. He's great.
Now, are you a fan of horror?
Yeah.
What's some of your favorites?
Let's see. That scare me to death. There's Dead Silence. That's a good one that I like. I'm trying to think. The Exorcist I can't watch at all. I just won't be able to sleep for weeks. Let's see. Suspiria. You know that one?
Yes.
Yeah, that one's pretty scary. I like those. There's a lot. I like so many of them. What's another one? I just seen. Of course, I like the Stepfather.
Stepfather was good.
Yeah, the original one. Awesome.
Terry O'Quinn.
Yeah.
Now, you did an episode of X-Files.
Uh-huh.
What was it like working with David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson?
Well, honestly, working with David Duchovny was really amazing. She was very difficult.
Really?
Yes. She was very difficult. Tried to talk to her. She wouldn't talk to any of us that were on the show, so.
Wow.
It was really weird.
So you working on any projects now?
Yeah, I'm actually producing a film.
Really?
And I'm starring in it, and I'm just basically working on that. And that pretty much takes up my time right now.
Can you tell us the name of the film?
Well, the name right now is called The Garden of Lost Souls. It could change, but then it's going to be, right around there. Maybe called The Garden. I'm not sure.
Is it the more of a horror type movie?
It's a suspense horror.
Good. So good to see you back in another horror movie.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it'll be my next one, actually,
Now, what was it like singing, which was basically the theme song for Nightmare on Elm Street 4?
It was great. I was so excited. I basically threw this song together with my writing partner in a day and brought it over to Rennie and Rachel, the producer, and just let them hear it in the car. And, Rennie, the director, was like, "Oh, Tuesday, I love it. I've got to have this in the movie. I love the song," so I'm like, "Oh, God, great." I was so excited. And then I found out it was the title song, and I was really jazzed.
Wow. Now, do you have a website or a fan site?
I don't have a website. Facebook is basically what I use.
Facebook?
Yeah.
Cool. William Sadler's also on Facebook, too.
Oh, yeah?
I just talked to him.
Oh, cool. He's great.
Well, Tuesday, thank you very much for taking time out.
Of course.
Good luck with your new movie.
Thank you.
And good luck with your singing.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Cats with Photoshop faces, Highlands of Scotland, goats and trees? Why doesn't anybody have a calendar which speaks to my passion? Wait a minute, what's this? HectorTurner.com, the 2013 Haunted Halloween Calendar? Oh, this is perfect. Oh, this would look great in a workshop. Better yet, at the office.
Reserve your copy of the calendar now at HectorTurner.com.
Greetings, mortals, and anything else listening. Welcome to the Big Scary Show's Deadline News. The Big Scary Show would like to offer congratulations to Patrick Prue of Welland, Ontario, Canada, for being our 800th like on Facebook. In addition to being our first international winner, Patrick wins a Midnight Syndicate prize pack consisting of their latest release, Carnival Arcade, and a Time Forgotten by Midnight Syndicate and vocalist Destiny Beard. Remember, folks, we're building up to our 1,000th like, and we'll be giving away a very cool prize package if we can get 1,000 likes by Halloween night at midnight. The contest is only open to those who are our fans, so remember to go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/BigScaryShow, like us, tell all your friends and all your fans who love Halloween, horror, and the haunted attraction industry to keep listening. Remember, folks, people really do win here on The Big Scary Show. We have some additional information on the legendary Haunt Tour coming very soon. A few weeks ago, we had Jen Braverman on The Big Scary Show to talk about it, but we have some new information. This year's legendary Haunt Tour will be the weekend of November 9th and 10th, and is going to Louisiana to explore the House of Shock, 13th Gate, and Necropolis 13. The House of Shock will be hosting a barbecue dinner and a fantastic stage show filled with pyrotechnics and a lights-off tour with full cast. The owners will be on the premises and will entertain all questions from everyone. The 13th Gate will also open their doors, along with the Necropolis 13. Each of these attractions has over 40,000 square feet of pure terror. Attendees will be served an authentic Louisiana Creole-style dinner, and included in this event are the Voodoo Fire Show and all VIP access passes. The 13th Gate design crew will be hosting a Q&A with their makeup artists and scenic design team. The owners will also be on site to answer any questions you may have, and the night will keep on going with an amazing after party. For more information on this, plus tickets and everything else you need, visit www.legendaryhaunttour.com. We have some news about a new haunt opening in 2013 in Charlotte. What Lies Within will be a large-scale indoor seasonal haunted attraction opening in 2013 in Charlotte, North Carolina, featuring multiple attractions and all styles of haunted house, including high startle, gore, and interactive. What Lies Within will make you laugh and scream and allow you to celebrate Halloween in a brand new way. What makes this haunt different is that the owners and main investors are all women. In order to make What Lies Within a reality, they've started a Kickstarter program to help get them off the ground. If you would be interested in helping them get this project moving and possibly become a member or sponsor, visit www.hauntedcharlotte.com for more information. We have a little bit of news from Creepy Collection. Jerry from Creepy Collection is announcing that from October 30th to November 30th, Creepy Collection will have its annual prop drop featuring the same great props at even better prices, some up to 35% off for this 1 month time. Prices are even better than their show discounts on all props and animatronics, and now they're offering financing as well, 6 months with no payments and no interest. For more information, visit www.creepycollection.com. Finally, we have some news on the top 13 haunted theme park mazes in the world. This time of year, there are all sorts of top 10 and top 13 lists about the most terrifying haunted attractions in the United States, but a reporter from the Los Angeles Times has taken it a step further by releasing the top 13 Halloween mazes in theme parks from around the world. Number 13, The Aftermath. The Fright Fest maze at Six Flags Magic Mountain in California fills the former Batman stunt show area with post-apocalyptic torment and turmoil. Visitors emerge from a fog-filled tunnel into a dystopian world of overturned vehicles, nomadic warriors, and mutated creatures. Number 12, La Llorona, the Child Hunter. Based on the Mexican legend of a distraught mother who drowned her children and then herself, the La Llorona maze at Universal Studios Hollywood is haunted by the ghost of the drenched, weeping woman and the wandering children she snatches at night. Visitors walk through sticky pig carcasses hanging in the carniceria amid the smell of rotting meat. Watch a child being eaten alive by La Llorona entering through a bedroom window and cross a horrifying moonlit lake full of drowned children floating face down in the water. Number 11, Penn and Teller nuked Las Vegas. The eccentric magicians have accidentally nuked Sin City, leaving the desert gambling oasis covered in radioactivity. The comedic 3D maze at Universal Studios Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights in Florida takes visitors on a day-glow journey through Las Vegas after one of the duo's illusions goes horribly wrong. Number 10, Graves Academy. The haunted Halloween maze at Hong Kong Disneyland takes visitors inside a once prestigious private school where students are taught a terrifying curriculum and bred for evil. Headmaster Alistair Graves, a dark arts master and strict disciplinarian, has turned the decaying academy into a portal for unbridled evil. Number 9, Alice Cooper Goes to Hell / Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare. The Alice Cooper mazes at Universal Studios in Hollywood and Orlando draw on elements from the Shock Rocker's theatrical concerts with a soundtrack culled from his concept albums. The Halloween Horror Nights mazes feature themes of unending darkness, eternal torment, and unimaginable horrors inspired by his song lyrics. Number 8, Trapped. The upcharge maze during Halloween Haunt at Knott's Berry Farm in California takes up to 6 people through a labyrinth of locked rooms with increasingly dire consequences. Trapped takes visitors from a rank-smelling bathroom to a confining cage filled with rats to a morgue where the dead come to life. Participants must solve puzzles or make unpalatable choices to escape each room and ultimately the maze itself. Number 7, The Passing. Thorpe Park in the United Kingdom introduced the new upcharge maze this year at this year's Fright Nights. With a suffocating burlap sack over their head, each person is sentenced to death and must blindly make their way through the claustrophobic maze to their own burial. Number 6, The Chinese Wedding of the Departed. After a terrible fire destroys a mansion, the family killed in the blaze returns as ghosts to haunt their former home. Wandering through the ruins, visitors to Ocean Park's Halloween Bash in Hong Kong try to avoid the matchmaker of the underworld who plots to turn the living into brides and grooms for the ghostly children. Number 5, Alone. Busch Gardens Tampa in Florida introduced the Solitary Scare experience in 2010 at Hallowscream with the upcharge Alone maze that takes up to 4 people through the attraction at a time. The backstory involves an obsessive hoarder named Alexander Daedalus and his impressive collection of oddities. But whatever you do, don't touch anything. During the tour, the scare actors call you by name and purposefully split up your party. Number 4, Biohazard Resident Evil. The haunted attraction at Universal Studios Japan brings to life the Resident Evil survival horror video game series and film franchise known as Biohazard in Japan. The elaborate scare zone and stage show turns the New York area of the park into a live-action replica of the zombie-infested Capcom video game's Raccoon City, complete with liquor mutants, Cerebus dogs, and tyrant super soldiers. Moving among the park's visitors, protagonists Jill Valentine and Claire Redfield battle monstrosities unleashed by the evil Umbrella Corporation housed in Universal's Terminator 2 attraction. Number 3, Down. Go inside a stinking sewer pipe at Europa Park's Horror Nights, where you meet rats, spiders, and other creatures slithering through the dark. Visitors walk and crawl through a dank and musty conduit lined with slippery walls and reeking of sewage. Number 2, Ghostly Legends. Ocean Park asked visitors to vote on the most haunted places in Hong Kong and turned the survey results into a maze at Halloween Bash. A possessed and demented disc jockey serves as the guide through 10 Hong Kong haunts populated by supernatural beings, like an 8-headed girl, an ice crystal monster, and a woman covered in butterflies. And number 1, Takeaway. Prepare to have your appetite spoiled at Europa Park's Horror Nights during the grand opening of a Chinese fast food restaurant known as Takeaway in Germany. The Takeaway maze at the German theme park sends visitors on a behind-the-scenes tour of the disgusting kitchen where a cleaver welding cook prepares caged cats as the main course. Remember, folks, if you have news about the haunt, horror, or Halloween industry, please send it to us at news@bigscaryshow.com and we'll get it on the air. No news is too big or too small. This concludes this edition of the Big Scary Show's Deadline News.
The Bloody Jug Band. If you want blood, on The Big Scary Show.
It's criminal. There ought to be a law. Criminal, it ought to be a whole lot more. You get nothing for nothing. Tell me, who can you trust? We got what you want, baby, and you got the lust. If you want blood, you got it. 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 Blood on the streets, blood on the rocks, blood in the gutter. Every last drop, you want blood, you got it. It's animal, living in the human zoo. Animal, all that shit they toss to you. Well, I'm feeling like a Christian, locked in a cage. Thrown to the lions on a seconds range. If you want blood, you got it. 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 Won't you bleed for me? Won't you bleed for me? Won't you bleed for me? Blood on the rocks, blood on the streets, blood in the sky, blood on my sheets. If you want blood, you got it. 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 Won't you bleed for me? Won't you bleed for me? Won't you bleed for me?
You may have experienced the Dent Schoolhouse in the past.
I saw the worst of it.
The story has been told. We can't prepare you for what you've never seen or felt. The spirits have moved, invading space and time. Those who live near have been scarred. Live back. Those who visit assume all risk. Time is running out at the Dent Schoolhouse on Harrison Avenue. Remember, the only way to see it is to see it. Presented by Cincinnati Bell.
At the best, most favorite time of year for everybody. Of course, we're talking Halloween here on the Big Scary Show, all Halloween, all the time, 24/7, 365. But of course, it's our Christmas. We're smack dab in the middle of the haunt season. And of course, I believe this show is airing right before Halloween. So what better time to bring our round table of terror to talk Halloween. We have with us today a couple of ladies who have written several books on the subject. So, for this, the most glorious time of the year, we're going to talk Halloween. We have on the phone with us Leslie Bannatyne from Boston. Are you there?
I am here. Hi, how are you?
Great to hear from you. She's written a book called Halloween Nation, Behind the Scenes of America's Fright Night, among others. We also have Chris Kullstrom, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, from Norwich, Connecticut.
You are. Thanks for having me.
Very welcome, and thank you for coming on, who has written books like Making a Monster's Halloween, Deadly Roll, and several other books. And as usual, our Forga host, unfortunately, if you hear a lot of background noise because it is haunt season, two of our hosts are actually working at Haunt this season. So we have the unknown scare actor down in Cincinnati working at Dent.
I'm here working and trying to talk.
We have Storm at Trails to Terror up in Rhode Island.
Greetings and happy hauntings.
And out in Vegas, not working at a haunt, haunt rocker Jerry Vane, sorry.
Somebody here.
And I'm tucked away in my little cavernous hideaway down in Charlotte. My name is Drew Badger. Welcome to the Round Table of Terror on the Big Scary Show. Welcome, ladies. How are you tonight?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess we'll dive right in. You have both written books on Halloween, and we'll start with Leslie. Why Halloween? Why not something else? Or how did you come about starting a topic like writing a book on Halloween?
All right, so this was the choice that was presented to me almost 25 years ago. There was a publishing house in New York City who were looking for authors to pitch holiday books, and they had this crazy runaway success with Thanksgiving, and so they wanted to build on this, and they offered me 2 holidays, and I could choose Election Day or Halloween.
Ugh.
Yeah, right.
That seems like a no-brainer.
To me, it was a no-brainer. So I grabbed Halloween, I proposed it, I wrote a history of American Halloween, and it was like falling down a rabbit hole. The more I knew about it, like anything else, the more I knew about it, the more interesting it got, the bigger subject it got, and I just kept writing Halloween books and still do, and it's been about 25 years now. And I'm happy I made that choice, may I say.
Given the political climate of 25 years ago and today, which would be scarier today, writing a book on elections or Halloween?
Which one would make more sense?
Yeah.
Election Day would have been easier in terms of research because there's just so much written everywhere in the world, and Halloween is harder to find. But I made absolutely the right choice.
Oh, absolutely. I have had the pleasure of reading Halloween Nation twice now. I just reread it in preparation for this, and it covers the gamut. I mean, it talks everything from witches to ghosts to history to zombie walks to, burlesque, to name it. And
exactly,
it's just
horror
fabulous.
burlesque. Yes,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And in some parts of the nation, that wouldn't be pretty far off from being scary to begin with.
Yes, it was an absolute joy to write. Let me just say that. It was just really fun to write that book.
Fantastic. Chris, how did you get started in writing books on the Halloween season?
Well, what prompted me was, for years, friends and coworkers and family insisting that Halloween was a children's holiday. And I said, oh my gosh, there are so many ways for adults to celebrate Halloween. Getting involved with a haunted attraction, putting up a haunt or a walkthrough display in your yard, having an event at work, themed vacations. And so I started to go to Halloween websites and see what articles they had for people. And they were basically all themed on crafts for kids and parties for kids and this, that, and the other for kids. And I thought, well, no wonder people think this way. So I started submitting articles to the websites of different things that adults could do. And one article led to another and another, and opened up a floodgate of ideas, and eventually it became Making a Monster's Halloween. And I separated the book into ways people could celebrate Halloween, both in October and throughout fall, and then throughout the rest of the year. So a real book for people who really live Halloween as a lifestyle.
And I'm sure that all of us listening know people who absolutely live it 365 days a year.
Absolutely.
We've got somebody like that down at Dent by the name of Damian Reaper.
Oh, yeah. Our buddy.
Good friend of the show, been on several times. But and he's actually quite a frightening character sometimes. You should go interview him. One of
You know what? Frightening or not, the guy's a big teddy bear. He just, as long as you don't make sure he doesn't have all brown M&Ms.
Oh, don't let him know that. You don't want that reputation to get out. He's all evil and terrible. Never mind.
Well, I do have a question. With everything you guys have published and with all the research you've done, what's the biggest misconception you guys have found so far regarding Halloween?
Hey, Chris, you want to take this first?
The biggest misconception?
Yeah.
I mean, like was said earlier, everyone thought it was a kid's holiday, but now I make the assumption it is more an adult's holiday than a kid's holiday. And I'll let you speak on this, but I'll give you my theory as to that afterwards.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to say the people that I'm friends with now are mostly haunters and people that are into it in an adult way, but the people I know kind of outside of that community are still in the mindset of it's something to do for the kids, and it really revolves around the kids. So I make sure to, preach the ways that they can embrace Halloween themselves and with their adult friends.
I think one of the biggest conceptions I've bumped across in my research is that it's religious in some way. And that's in a lot of different ways. I mean, it's separated from what I can see, Halloween's separated from any kind of religious celebration, any kind of church celebration. Like 400 years ago, it's a secular holiday. And it's only recently that it's been kind of reclaimed as a religious or a spiritual holiday by a number of different people, from very conservative Christians who have taken offense to it, to even the pagan community who have found spirituality in this time of year. Both of those extremes, though, don't seem to me to have anything to do with what most of us celebrate on October 31st, which I think really is a secular holiday. So that's the biggest thing that I've gotten over the years, the biggest misconception.
Well, let me ask you that then. Why do you think that people do have religious oppositions to Halloween? I mean, especially if people think it's just a kid's holiday where you just go out and dress up and go get candy. I mean, why are so many people thinking, well, this is the worship of the devil, or this is some kind of Satanism, or some kind of pagan ritual? Why is that, or what have you guys found?
Because in the 1960s and the 1970s, there was a huge outburst of media coverage of paganism and neo-paganism and Satanism that didn't actually exist, but there were a lot of news and media stories about the occult. There was a real strong interest in the occult at that point, and that's when actual modern-day witches got more vocal about what they did, and they mentioned that one of their holidays was October 31st or Halloween or Samhain. And so the media just grabbed onto that, and I think it's mostly a media event that makes us associate it with Satan and with anything hellish. I mean, there's a big difference. The images of death and the images of hell look a lot alike, and some people just confuse them. And for those that feel that those images are really strong and should be avoided, they have to avoid Halloween. I understand that. They've come up with alternatives to trick-or-treating so that kids can still enjoy it. I understand that. But I think it's just about imagery and the media. There's nothing inherently religious or satanic about Halloween.
Because I live in the heart of the Bible Belt, and down here we have protesters, for lack of a better word, who encourage you not to take your children trick-or-treating or to take them to trunk-or-treats, which is kind of a church-sponsored trick-or-treating. And they have these things, I don't know if they have them in other parts of the country, called hell houses.
Right.
Which are kind of like haunted houses that show you what happens when you lead a sinful lifestyle. You are, this shows you images of what hell is like if you don't repent and give your life to, whatever deity you're currently, or they're currently wanting you to worship. And it just seems so old-fashioned in a way, but some of these people are just so dead serious about it, and it really if anything, I think it makes a lot of other people's resolve to keep honoring Halloween by just going out and having a good time. I mean, it's just a great excuse to put on a costume and go out and have fun, it seems. I mean, it's just that simple, and so many people just want to take it and run with it in a negative direction.
Well, here's the thing. Because it doesn't celebrate a person or an event like Thanksgiving or St. Patrick's Day or Christmas, it doesn't celebrate anything specific. Mother's Day, Father's Day, Memorial Day, Arbor Day. You know, there's nothing like that for Halloween. Halloween just is an expression of some sort of imagination and creativity. And because it's not connected with an event or a person or a specific thing, it kind of wanders around the cultural, gestalt and celebrates what we want it to. So it can be co-opted by many people, or it can mean many things to many different people. And so you have this wide range of celebration and this wide range of feeling about it, but it's just, it's who we are as a culture. That's what it is.
Did either of you have negative reaction when people found out you were writing books on Halloween?
No, I didn't have any negative.
I mean, did anybody say, well, that's the devil's holiday, I'm not talking to you, or anything like that?
No, and I think going back to what you were saying about why some people are so extreme in their views is because either that's their personality, they're extremist overall, not just in their belief on Halloween, but their belief in anything, or they're in a community that's extreme in their religion. And so they're attending church every week where that's being told to them to look at Halloween in that negative light. And because, like Leslie was saying, it's very open to interpretation as opposed to Mother's Day or Christmas, it's so easily looked at in whatever way people want. And if they want to look at it in a sinful way, in a negative way, well, then that's their interpretation, and then that's what they're spreading to their church or their family.
No negative.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
To your question, like Chris, no. I mean, but I interview people who are into Halloween, so I'm not going to bump into somebody who says, no, I won't talk to you, because, I'm interviewing haunters or witches or, it's great. Everybody who I talk to mostly gets it. They love Halloween. People who love Halloween, and they recognize each other. They know.
I would have just was wondering if you had decided to maybe talk to some people who were anti-Halloween, since you do mention some of that in Halloween Nation.
Yeah.
Whether you would talk to pastors or talk to religious groups as to what their opposition actually is. So.
Sometimes on radio interviews, when they want to make a show that has some conflict in it, they'll have me on, and they'll have on a pastor of a church, and so in that sense, I have talked to people about these kinds of issues, and it's it's a very divisive topic if you take it that way. I mean, they're not going to change their mind. I'm not going to change mine. It's kind of a pointless conversation.
You were talking about first what you said, the media, about the media frenzy back in the 60s, and then you were speaking about people that are uneducated. And what I was going to bring up is something I noticed in a little movie that I think everybody's seen called Halloween. It's a classic by John Carpenter, but somebody didn't do their research because they pronounced Samhain Samhain throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, well, sometimes that can be, sometimes I think maybe they're trying to be ironic or a joke or something, but it's interesting that you bring up John Carpenter's Halloween, because that feeds into the whole different view of Halloween that we have now that we didn't have before 1978. I mean, that movie came out in 78. And until then, nobody had made a movie with Halloween as a theme, Halloween as a title, Halloween as a plot line. And it wasn't until that year that people started to really associate Halloween with horror. Until before then, it was Betty Boop's Halloween Party, or Arsenic and Old Lace. It was a very gentle kind of Halloween that we saw in the big movies and the media. but after Christmas and Halloween, all of a sudden Halloween and horror became the same thing. And it actually boosted Halloween's popularity because a lot of teenagers and adults came back to Halloween who hadn't been celebrating it for a while because it was a horror holiday and they loved horror. So all the horror fans became Halloween fans, and Halloween had a real bump.
Well, do you guys think that the commercial growth of Halloween has been helpful to the holiday, or do you think it might have become a hindrance to it?
I think it's been helpful in that it's drawn more people out to celebrate it. More people going to the haunted attractions, the hay rides, all kinds of events that are popping up in communities everywhere and for all ages.
Absolutely, I agree, Chris. I agree. And not only that, I'll say that, Halloween is a huge market. It's a huge market for Halloween. Everybody understands that, but I still think the genesis of Halloween is a bunch of people sitting around in a garage or a kitchen trying to come up with really interesting, fun things to make. It's not a bunch of people sitting in a boardroom trying to decide what we're going to buy. I still think it's got that creative impulse that makes it so popular.
Well, as I've told people when I put on actor training seminars at haunted attractions, Halloween is the second largest holiday as far as retail sales, as far as marketing and merchandising. Is that still true? I mean, Christmas is pretty much leaps and bounds above everybody, but is Halloween making inroads or gaining on that, or do you guys know any kind of numbers? How much do we spend on Halloween every year?
It's time to build your undead horde with the best rated zombie props 2 years in a row. You'll find them at creepycollection.com, along with the scary creepy clown props, the frozen meat locker props, the deadly doll props, the creepy killer props, and the deadly deal life-size bodies. creepycollection.com, the online source for all your pro-haunting and animatronic needs. You'll find Creepy Collection props in many venues, from yard haunts to major screen parks to movie production and even crime scene investigation. Featuring FearFlex technology, Creepy Collection is taking the static out of static. For your gore and more, that's Creepy Collection at www.creepycollection.com.
I'm going to send that to Leslie. I don't know.
Okay, I think last year it was around $8 billion, and Halloween is growing quickly in terms of decorations, that revenue stream, lights, yard decorations, cards, trees, that sort of thing.
That's $8 billion with a B.
Christmas is so big. Yes, Halloween is growing, but it would have to be 10 times its size to get anywhere near Christmas. It's all presents. Christmas is huge still.
Yeah.
Do you think Christmas has kind of played itself out as far as you have the religious significance and then you have the Santa Claus significance of it? I mean, there doesn't seem to be too much more you can do with it. Versus, do you think that Halloween can just keep growing and expanding as it is? You've got haunted attractions, now you've got extreme haunted attractions, now you're getting more and more famous people. I know Eli Roth is opening a haunted attraction in Vegas this year, and it just seems to be growing so much faster than every other holiday out there.
Absolutely. I think there's limitless opportunity for Halloween, and that's so inspiring.
Yeah, it's as people who make Halloween crafts will tell you, or Halloween stuff, there's a lot more freedom in the characters and the imagery of Halloween than there might be with Christmas or Easter or summer, something like that. There's a lot more freedom with its characters, with its color scheme, and I think just the way our culture is today, we love that kind of dark aesthetic, and there's plenty of room to grow there. Definitely plenty of room to grow.
I guess, why do you think that people really, really like Halloween as a holiday, as just the time of year? I mean, I know so many people who are not even in the industry, just friends of mine, that say, boy, I can't wait to go put on a costume and go out to the local pub, or I can't wait until the Halloween specials come back on TV. Kind of reminds me of childhood, going back to seeing Charlie Brown, Halloween, and Great Pumpkin, and all that. Why is this such a popular holiday?
I think, like Leslie was saying, it's so open to creativity and interpretation, doing what you want with your costumes and how you'd like to run your parties and where you'd like to go to celebrate. And there's just different things you can do each year, and not just people like us who love it so intensely and do things for it throughout the year, but the average Joe, say, who just likes Halloween throughout October, can get as excited about it as we can. So it's something that can really bring everybody together to share it.
That's absolutely true. And I think, Drew, you hit on one of the reasons I think it's popular when you were talking about, well, basically nostalgia. Going back to when you were a kid, I think a lot of us remember what it was like to be a kid on Halloween and how free that was, how it was different than every other day. And that wonderful freedom of running around in a cape and a mask and whatever after dark and getting candy. It's something that still lives in people even after they grow up, and they want to give it to their kids, and they want to kind of keep that freedom inside them at least one time a year. And the other thing is that Halloween lets you out of the box. If you're a boy or a girl or you're gay or you're straight, on Halloween you just get out of that box, and you can be anybody you want. You can dress however you want, and it's completely forgiven that night. It's the only holiday that we have that's both really tolerant and really extreme.
Well, I'll go back. I'll touch on that a little bit more. As I was saying earlier, my theory on why it's so popular now is like you said, when we were kids, and I grew up as a kid in the 70s, when all the neighborhood kids we would actually organize. We mapped out the neighborhood. We divided up into teams. We had little walkie-talkies, and we would radio each other who's giving out the big candy bars, who's giving out apples this year, what houses to avoid, who's got the barking dogs and stuff. And then back in like 82, when all of a sudden the Tylenol scare came out, and all of a sudden you started hearing about razor blades and apples, and you started hearing about pins and needles and poisoned candy because everybody was worried about being poisoned by things. And I think the 80s almost killed Halloween for at least children. When I was in my teens at that point, I wasn't, I was too old to go trick-or-treating, but, I'd go hang out at my friend's house and, maybe a little bit of minor vandalism to pumpkins or something. But now that those people have kind of gotten into their 30s, 40s, and dare say even older, I think that nostalgia thing is coming back. And that's why I think, the people my age, I'm in my mid-40s, I'm not really willing to give up on what a fun time of year that was, which is one reason I'm in this business. And I'm definitely going to make sure my kids go out and have a good time. They go out and they do the trick-or-treating and they dress up every year, and they just think it's one of the grandest times. They still think Christmas is a little better, but I'm working on it.
I can't tell you how many guys that are scary looking, with tattoos and piercings and black leather and goat beards and scary big guys. When you talk about the haunted mansion when they were a kid, or you talk about trick-or-treating when they were a kid, their eyes just kind of go misty. It's very deep inside us, this like feeling of this nostalgic Halloween, and nobody's going to give that up.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things that, a lot of these Facebook pages have popped up, Halloween this, Halloween that, and you start seeing all the pictures from, days gone by, so to speak, and you start remembering, things, when you were a kid, you see, I saw a picture of a Frankenstein costume from the 70s, where it was just that plastic mask and that, little jumpsuit thing that had Frankenstein on the front of it, and you look at it by standards now, and you think, oh, how cheesy it is, but when to me, at that age, that was the greatest thing. I'm Frankenstein. It definitely, the nostalgic factor for some people is very strong when it comes to it.
It's time to break out when you're an adult, too. I mean, it's wonderful, that nostalgia feeling, and you can feel that in your bones as October's getting close. You know, you can get that feeling like Halloween is coming. But as an adult, it is a blast to wear a costume. It is a blast to be somebody that you're not, to go somewhere you wouldn't ordinarily go, and to be with people who love the same things that you do. There's this great Halloween tribe that exists now, and it's wonderful to be a part of it. And I don't know, it just doesn't, Christmas and Easter and Thanksgiving just don't do the same thing for me.
I've got to agree.
I was going to say, in addition to that, Leslie, bringing people with you to these events who wouldn't celebrate it or do it on their own, but when they find out that you're so excited about it, they get excited about it. So maybe you're bringing them to a haunted attraction for the first time, or going on a ghost walk for the first time, and kind of introducing this new world of Halloween to them. To me, that's one of the most exciting things about it.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, during my day job, I get this time of the year. I'm always excited. You know, starting in mid-September, my coworkers start looking at me going, "Okay, you're weird," but you know.
Yeah, but we already knew that.
Yeah.
It's just me, and I forewarn them. Between September and October, I'm going to get really strange. I start pulling pranks. I start talking to them, so look, you got to come to this haunted attraction. I got to come scare you, you know. And it's just the ability to step outside of yourself, like you've been saying, to be somebody else for a little while. And it also is a great stress reliever because I take all my frustration out on the people that come through and I scare them.
Yeah, well, like my wife, you know, she gets it but doesn't get it. She just kind of sits there and looks at me and goes, "Okay, have fun." You know, and there are times I wish that she would be more into it and understand, you know, why it affects me the way it does, and why I chose to get involved in the haunt industry and go to the convention and, you know, and do that. She just looks at it and goes, "You're crazy, but I love you. Okay, bye."
But there's good support there.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do?
Yeah. So let me ask you, ladies, on the books that you've written. Leslie, what was the most surprising thing you found out when you were writing Halloween Nation? Something you had no idea was part of the Halloween tradition.
Oh, boy, that's a great question. You know, I think I was basically surprised at how often an online Halloween relationship, like people who are on, you know, forums or Facebook pages or internet sites where Halloween people meet. I don't mean dating, but just like where you post about props and things. How often those relationships went into the real world and people became friends, you know, face-to-face friends. So how it translates from the internet into the real world was, I was surprised at the number of people who have Halloween friends that they met online. So it's great in that way because it's creating all these brand new communities that didn't exist except in cyberspace.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, same question.
I had a similar experience. So for me, I was surprised when I was doing research for Monsters Halloween how many conventions there were around the country and throughout the year, and how many people attended them from all over. And just in the past few years that these conventions are now starting to happen in Canada and the United Kingdom. I think that's awesome that it's just really spreading and creating such a sense of community that way, and that they can keep in touch outside the conventions through forums and other websites.
Oh, absolutely. We attend quite a few during the year. In fact, the only time the four of us ever get together is at the Midwest Haunters Convention, which was months ago in June. And we like to, whenever one of us can, we can go to HauntCon or Transworld or Canadians or West Coast Haunters Convention or National Haunters Convention. And then there's just that kind of not second level, but there's like the Horror Hound weekends and the Flashback weekends and the Monster Cons and the Ghost Cons and the Spectre Cons and just so many. Almost, yeah, it's like Dragon Con has now got a huge horror following. Comic Con's got a huge.
Yes.
horror backing, and it's just amazing how it's really permeated into so much of everyday life. There's almost not a weekend that you can go by that you can't go to a con somewhere, at least a state or two away, that's sci-fi and anime and horror and all that
Right.
good stuff.
Yeah.
And it just seems to have so much more acceptance now than it did, say, back in the 80s or so.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. Until there was the internet, we didn't know about each other, and and then there was this wonderful World Wide Web, and everybody found each other, and small gatherings became big gatherings, conventions. You're so right. I mean, in the 80s, the only people who had conventions were dentists and insurance agents, right?
I'm sure those were just absolutely scary as can be, rocking it and all that. Tooth decay, ooh. But, Jim, how are we doing for time?
We're running around 30 minutes right now.
Okay, because I know you and Storm have to go back and get haunting, shall we say. So let's wind this down with a couple of last questions. Anybody?
Yeah, a little crazy here, but I'm still in.
You got anything, Storm, you want to add? I know you're, between dropping
I don't
people.
think so. We've covered a lot, and especially on some of the traditions. Is there anything about folklore, anything that's really jumped out, that's really added to Halloween and what you guys have researched with folklore in local areas?
I know the two of you are up in the northwest, northeast, very, very historical area of the country. Salem witches and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, it's the best place to live.
With that.
Yeah, we have a lot of ghost tours around based on witchcraft, vampire legends. And they're not just around Halloween, but throughout the year.
Well, that's true. I mean, you can go to places like Savannah and St. Augustine and places along the coast with ghost tours and cemetery walks and things, especially during tourist season in the summertime. So, hadn't even thought of that.
People have gotten incredibly more interested in the dead. The ghost tours and everything are popped up just about everywhere in the world, and zombies. The current popularity of zombies. It's like everybody's really interested in the undead right now. I think
Why
that's
do you think that
fascinating.
is?
That's probably something so complicated that
There's another book right there.
Yeah, that's actually true. You're right. That's a great idea. Why is it? There's a lot of different reasons, but I don't know. I think it's intense. I mean, death is all the final frontier, and it's such an attractive and forbidden kind of subject that we're just drawn to it. And the fact that there are so many undead everywhere, so many zombies around in our culture right now, it's kind of like a satire of death. So we're not quite addressing it directly, but we're interested in it, and we're interested in making fun of it or light of it or trying to deal with it some way that's 21st century. I think there are zombie folks who could offer all sorts of philosophy about why we're so obsessed with people coming back from the dead, but I will say it's not a new thing. I mean, zombies may be new now, but I mean, we've been obsessed with people coming back from the dead for a long time.
Right.
They're just much more bloody now, which is fine.
That works for me.
That keeps us in business.
Yeah.
And we'll just keep riding that wave as long as we can.
Yes.
Well, ladies, I know we're a little short of time, and I know Jim and Storm have to go back to, basically making patrons release body fluids and violent expulsions. So
And I'm good at it.
We're gonna wrap this up a little bit by saying we want to thank Leslie Bannatyne, author of Halloween Nation, Behind the Scenes of America's Fright Night, and Chris Colstrom from Norwich, Connecticut, author of Deadly Roll, Monsters, Parties and Games, Making a Monsters Halloween, many, many other things. This is the part of the show we affectionately like to call the plugs. So if you have a website or a place where people can buy your books and check out any personal appearances you make, I'm sure you two make a lot of personal appearances around this time of year, how can they check out everything that's going on in your lives?
Leslie, you can go ahead.
Okay, you can find all my books at Amazon, and I've got 5 of them, and they're listed on iSkullHalloween.com.
iSkullHalloween.com. That's a great. I've actually got a bumper sticker of that on my truck that I picked up.
I was just going to say, those are great bumper stickers, Leslie.
I do get a couple of inquiries every now and then. What's the iSkull Halloween? It's just like, go read a book. I'll point one out to you. Chris, how about you? Where can people find out more information on your books and things?
My books are also available on Amazon, and my website is monstersandbooks.com. And for those interested in Australia's dock tourism, this fall I'm going to be giving a couple presentations on the ghost tours of Australia, which is also based on the book I'm working on.
Very, very cool. If they're looking you up by author's name or anything, how do you spell your last name?
It's Kullstroem, like Mary, Kullstrom.
Excellent. Well, Chris Kullstrom and Leslie Bannatyne, it has been a distinct pleasure. I wish we had more time, but maybe sometime off-season when we're not all, super, super busy talking about this glorious time of the year, we can sit down and have a good long discussion on Halloween traditions and Halloween cool this and that and the other. I want to thank our guests, Chris Kullstrom and Leslie Bannatyne, both up in the Connecticut and Boston areas, for their time to come speak to us on the Big Scary Show. Once again, that's Halloween Nation, Behind the Scenes of America's Fright Night by Leslie Bannatyne, Chris Kullstrom, Making a Monster's Halloween, Deadly Roll, and others. And as usual, our 4 host, the unknown scare actor.
Time to go scare some more people.
He's working the Dent Schoolhouse in Cincinnati. Go check them out. Storm up there, Trails to Terror in Rhode Island. You still there?
Hey, everything going good here? It's awesome. Hey, everybody.
All right. And Jerry Vane, the haunt rocker, all the way out in Las Vegas.
And I'm heading down to the Goratorium.
Oh, excellent. And I'm just going to hold the fort down right now until tomorrow when I can get out and go scare stuff. My name is Drew Badger. This is the Big Scary Show's Round Table of Terror. And we are out.
Hello, everybody. Once again, Drew Badger is live at HauntCon. Me and the unknown scare actor are out here talking to a lot of people, and look who we ran into. Internationally world-famous haunted house actor, legend in his own mind and time, one of the greats, one of the early pioneers of the traveling actor, Mr. Rex B. Hamilton. How are you today, Mr. Rex B. Hamilton? How's HauntCon treating you and all that?
Oh, Badger, it's a lovely day. Thanks very much for letting me talk on your show here today. This is fun.
Tell us a little bit about what's been going on and what have you been doing over the last, few months since Halloween. Where were some of the places you went last year as your many characters, and what's going on?
I actually had a lot of fun in 2011. I worked at 12 different haunted houses last year, so 3 of them I had never worked at before, and 9 I had been to. That tends to be my ratio. Usually it's about a 2-to-1, 3-to-1 ratio as far as new haunts and old haunts. So I've worked my way up here to 82 different haunted attractions. People ask me, how much longer are you going to do this? And I've just picked a number out of the air. I've just arbitrarily said, I'm going to get to 100. And then we'll just see what I feel like doing at that point. Maybe I'll continue doing it. Maybe I'll take up basket weaving. I'm not sure at that point.
So what were some of the characters that you brought, and what were some of the haunts that you went to, and what were some of the best haunts that you've been to over the years?
Well, when I tell people, at least as far as the state of Ohio, because I've stuck myself in Ohio for the last 2 years. I haven't gone outside of the state boundaries for 2 years. But in my opinion, the best one is the Factory of Terror, which is in Canton, Ohio.
Did you work that for the pre-show at HauntCon this year, or did you just come up for the day?
No, I'm just here for the day here today on Saturday. Pittsburgh is close enough to Cleveland, where I'm from, so that you can travel in about 3 hours or so here early this morning, and then I'll be able to drive back home this evening. So this is really only the second time that I've been to HauntCon. I was at it back in 2007 because at that time the show was in the Detroit, Michigan area, which is about 3.5 hours or so away from Cleveland.
So Factory of Terror has been one of your favorite in Ohio over the past couple of years?
Yes.
Love that haunt.
Love that
John
haunt.
and those guys, just amazing stuff.
And it's not so much that it's a big haunt. You know, it does have that Guinness Book of World Records award. It's a good haunt.
Yes,
it really is a good haunt.
Well, all 4 sections of it are
All 4 sections of it are good. And they do a good job with their makeup, too. And you know me, I'm a big makeup proponent. So
absolutely.
No masks for this boy. It's makeup here.
And yet every picture I ever see of you, people are just like, that's got to be a mask.
Well, I guess that's a good compliment for either me or the makeup artist that did me that time.
Now, do you do your own makeup on a lot of this stuff, or do you have people like Jeff Beck or some of the others, members of the Scab 5, help you with this? Oh, by the way, you are a founding member of the Scab 5, is that correct?
Right. There's 5 of us performers from Cleveland. We're loosely collaborating with one another. We call ourselves the Scab 5. Myself, Jeff Beck, Jeff Glatzer, Roger, and Beth Miller are the 5 of us. And sometimes we get together and all get on a plane, and other times we scatter to the 4 winds. It'll vary from one weekend in October to the next.
Absolutely. Great folks there. But I'm sorry, I digress. Back to the makeup and all that, what you were talking about.
Well, during the month of October, when I'm out on the road, and most of the time I'm by myself, well, then I've got to do the makeup myself. So I have to take, the more simple characters. You can't do everything all by yourself. You know, putting on a bald cap, it can be difficult. Gluing yourself down, if you've got a character that's only got one eye that's visible, it's kind of difficult sometimes to do those things with only one eye working. So you have to pick and choose your battles. But when it comes to conventions and you're there with your friends, then the sky's the limit.
Do you let anybody at a convention like this, where somebody like the Wolf Brothers may be working, do you let them paint you up or anything, or do you have like people that you only work with?
No, I've just never done that at a convention. I enjoyed standing around taking pictures and watching people do it, because oftentimes we saw this here today. You're seeing young children and you're seeing people who it's pretty evident have never had that kind of makeup on their face before, and they're enjoying it. And so my taking photographs, that's my vicarious pleasure right there, because I get to see people, now you know why I enjoy this so much, because you do get to transform yourself.
And I do notice that when I see you at a Trans World or a convention like that, you always do have the camera in your hand. Is this for any type of publication, or is this just self-pleasure and artistic merit?
This is me, is what it is. I just absolutely love taking photographs of haunted house people. My film camera that I gave up about 3 years or so ago, I took more than 16,000 pictures of haunted house performers in a 30-year period, and it's just me. Before getting into haunted house, I spent nearly a decade in theater, and I have absolutely nothing to show for it except for programs, that the audience members would get when they arrived at the theater. So I've got a decade I don't have any record of. Basically no photographs of back in the 60s and 70s. There were no such things as modern day cameras. All you had maybe was a Polaroid or something like that. And so when I really got serious in the haunted house business, I said, you know what, I'm going to buy a nice camera and I'm going to just take a boatload of pictures, and because otherwise it's a big blur inside of your head. This is going to be my 38th year of doing haunted house acting here, and even though I'm a relatively sane person, it's still a big ball of mush inside my head. You can't remember one thing from the next, so thank goodness I took all those pictures.
Any possibility that you may take those and put them together in, say, a book form or anything like that?
It would be a book that would give you back trouble because it's so big. I mean, I have most of the pictures from my film camera. Again, as I said, it's about 16,000 pictures. I didn't get them all printed. Some of them I just got contact sheets for the negatives, but most of them I actually have printed out, and I can't even fit all the albums inside the trunk of my car. It takes about 8 or 9 trips. They're up on the 3rd floor of my house, and you're exhausted by the time you've loaded up the car. So, no. Are they going to go in a book?
So there's your answer. No.
There's your answer. No. Because A, you won't be able to afford it, and B, you'll need a forklift to put it into your pickup.
Yeah, but imagine how cool that would be to see all the thousands of pictures that you've taken. Any new characters for 2012 that anybody can expect if you travel out to some of the haunts in the area? As anything in that twisted ball of mush you call your head coming soon, should I say?
Yeah, it's coming soon to a haunt near you. We've got a new character for me this year, Dr. Sinister, which I think you'll like. He actually did his own lobotomy, so he's a fairly good-looking guy.
Probably talented to be able to do that, and have really good mirrors.
That's right. And when you look at it, it's a little off-center. It's not perfectly. It's kind of tilted to one direction. Okay, so but he'll be making an appearance at a few haunted attractions this fall.
Have you already been hired by these haunted attractions, or are you still looking at taking bookings?
Actually, see all of the above. I have been hired by some haunts. I still have a couple, maybe 3 weekends open, so I'm still actively looking to fill up that schedule.
Well, here's a good segue into what we like to call the plugs. If anybody was interested in having Dr. Sinister or Rexby Hamilton and some of his myriad of other characters come out to your haunt, probably more in the Ohio upper Midwest area than other places, but that's always negotiable, how could somebody get a hold of you, or maybe just chat with you and see what you can do for them coming out for a weekend?
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, I am on Facebook. And I do have an email address. It's called Evil Lord Zargon at msn.com is the email address.
So there's no rexhamilton.com out there that we know of?
There is not yet, no.
Okay. But Evil Lord Zargon at msn.com. Right. If you're interested, drop a line to Mr. Rexby Hamilton here, Dr. Sinister, or any of his other characters, coming soon to a haunt in 2012.
Right. Have Ghoul Will Travel.
We love that. Once again, Mr. Hamilton, Rex, an distinct pleasure and honor to have you here on the Big Scary Show down here in beautiful Steel City, USA, Pittsburgh, PA. It's really Monroeville, but everybody else knows it as Pittsburgh. For the Big Scary Show, this is Drew Badger, and I am out. Stiff Magazine presents The Return of MonsterCon. Coming to the Greenville Hilton in Greenville, South Carolina, July 26th through 28th, 2013. MonsterCon will feature celebrity guests, including guest of honor David Prowse, comic and toy vendor areas, panels and discussion groups, special offers for local and independent artists, horror and sci-fi themed entertainment, the MonsterCon Film Festival, live music by the Graveyard Boulevard, Valentine Wolf, and others, anime, sideshow performances by Captain Stab Tuggo and Madame Maybell, late-night entertainment for adults featuring single-cell entertainment, and much, much more. For more information, details, directions, and tickets, visit monstercon.org. That's monstercon.org. Don't miss the return of MonsterCon. Order tickets now before it's too late. Hello, everyone. Drew Badger live at Scarefest in Lexington, Kentucky for the Big Scary Show, talking to all the celebrities, few other people out here, including some really, really cool musicians. Talked to a couple here, but I'd say the biggest musician we got out here right now is Michael Graves, former member of the Misfits. How you doing, Michael?
I'm doing well.
Tell us about how's Scarefest been treating you. You know, I've seen lots and lots of people coming up, talking to you, buying T-shirts and stuff like that.
It's been really good for me. Everybody that I meet is excited and happy, and it's very flattering, and I love it.
So tell us a little bit. I understand you've got a new album in the works, or kind of getting that production, trying to.
Yes. One way or another, I just launched the Kickstarter campaign yesterday. People can go to my website, michaelgraves.net, and then it's all over the website. It's on the Facebook. One way or another, if that doesn't work out, I'm going to make the record anyhow, and it'll be out in March. It's going to be called Vagabond, and I'm really excited because again, it's going to show an evolution in my music, and as well as myself as a human, this experience that I'm going through.
Since the Misfits are no more at this time, and who knows, they may get back together again, as bands tend to do. Yeah. How has your music evolved? This is not your first solo CD.
No.
But how would you say the music has evolved from playing in one of the seminal punk bands of all time. Let's face it. To what you're putting out now.
Well, with my solo stuff, I don't really create through the lens, obviously, of horror, the specific horror genre. So it's a way that I just freely express through music, again, my experience in this existence, my life, and wherever it's taken me. So I'm starting another project. It's going to be Michael Graves' Monsters, which is going to be much more like the Misfits than anything else that I've done. It's going to be a horror project.
Excellent.
And, because people love what they see here. They love the Misfits, and again, those are my roots. So I've gone ahead, and I'll release a record as well. I'm going to have Larry Blameyer, who directed Lost Skeleton Returns. Him and I are going to collaborate on a video together for the re-release of Lost Skeleton Returns, which happens next year.
Very, very cool.
Through Hydraulic Entertainment.
Right.
Bantam Street Productions.
How have the fans taken to your solo stuff, since it is kind of a departure from...
Yeah. Everybody responds, very well. I just got back from a 6-week tour called War of Information with a new band with the solo stuff, and everybody really loves it.
Are you getting ready to embark on another tour once the Kickstart gets off the ground? Are you writing now, or...
Well, I'm sort of on the Kickstarter tour right now. After tonight, I go to Louisville, then I have a couple of days off. I hook up with Marky Ramone. We have a project. We do 2 weeks on the East Coast, 2 weeks in South America, and then I'll be recording the record in November. A little bit of a break in December, back in South America in January.
Are you playing any of the big festivals down there, or
Yeah. In November, we'll be playing with Marilyn Manson, Slayer.
Very nice.
Yeah. There's a couple of... Slash is going to be there, and he's going to jam. I think it's in Guatemala and Chile in November. I'm going to record the Monsters album in February, and then the Vagabond tour starts March 21st.
Who's going to be on the Monsters tour? Are you going to bring some of these celebrity musicians to come in and collaborate with them?
Well, right now it's myself, obviously, singing. I got Johnny B. Morbid playing bass guitar. Emilio from Stellar Corpses playing guitar, and the Merp, who played a Christ the Conqueror. He plays with Sardonica now. I played for the Misfits for a little while on drums.
Sounds like an all-star cast.
Yeah.
So, for people who are interested in tour dates, maybe they're heading down to South America or the East Coast in a couple of weeks to check you out. The collaboration with Marky Ramone. Marky's a great guy. Met him a couple times.
Yeah.
Where can they find that information? Maybe help you with your Kickstarter program for the new CD? How can they go about getting in contact with you like that?
MichaelGraves.net's the best thing to do, or look me up on Facebook. But through MichaelGraves.net, all the links to Facebook, Reverb Nation, MySpace, if you're still on that, Twitter, everything is through
MySpace.
MySpace.
Not familiar with that.
It's a little website that used to be around a couple years ago called MySpace.
Something like that. I hear they're relaunching something at some point. Who knows? It is what it is, obviously.
Indeed.
Well, Michael Graves, has been a distinct pleasure to speak to you. Been a fan of the music, that band, for many, many years. Obviously, who knows if they're going to come back. And if they do, maybe
for the
we'll
record,
never say never is all I can
listen,
say.
for the record, I know that there's obviously fans all over the world, and I get to talk to them that want us to get back together, and I'm trying. I've reached out to those guys every couple of months. I'm not the one that's holding the reunion back. If they called me up tomorrow, they know that I would say yes and I would sing for them. But it has to be me, Jerry Goldschud.
Sure. So perhaps one of them may be listening and picks up the phone after that. All we can do is see.
Yeah.
But once again, MichaelGraves.net for all the information on Vagabond, the Kickstarter program, the new record, the old records, and all the cool stuff that is Michael Graves. Again, a pleasure. My name is Drew Badger. We are here for the Big Scary Show at Scarefest, Lexington, Kentucky, and I am out.
The Misfits, Halloween, on the Big Scary Show. metal, haunting. It's all dark and scary. At Thorn Web Designs, we know what you want, what you need, and we will give you exactly that. Since 2007, we have been providing our customers with the best logos, web designs, and more. We can offer to keep their image dark, scary, and memorable, not to mention fantastic prices. With clients from Nightmare Zone Haunted House and Wells Township Haunted House, we are ready to give you the smoke you need for web presence. To get your quote and to browse our portfolio, visit thornwebdesigns.com. Greetings, haunters. Are you ready to face your fears?
Brought to you by Dark Spectre Custom Couture. Check out Nez's work at www.darkspectre.com. Couture for the creatures of the night. Greetings, haunters. The Unknown Scare Actor here. Deep underneath the ground in the Big Scary Show studios, it is currently 1 week before Halloween. And that gives me pause because now we have to face our fears, and I have to face yet another one of my fears. And that fear is simply the end of the haunt season. We don't have to be happy about it, but it's always a roller coaster ride during season, isn't it, haunters? And for some of us, it keeps going and going and going. Me and the other three Koga hosts from the Big Scary Show, we live this stuff. So even though season's over, we've always got things to do, people to talk to, interviews to get done. And I may be calling some of you scare actors to talk to me on the Big Scary Show during the off season. So let's face those fears together. It's been one hell of a ride. And in another 10 months, we're going to get right back on that roller coaster and do it all again.
Always remember one thing, haunters. Everyone is afraid of something. King Diamond, Halloween on the Big Scary Show. This is the Haunt Minute. And now, with this week's commentary, Storm.
Alright, we've made it to the end of another Haunt season. Yay! And hopefully, everybody's all still in one piece, or as many pieces as you were before. The Haunt's been a success, people have enjoyed the show, and, we gotta start closing things up next week and planning for next year. But there's plenty of time. It's, the apex of Halloween now. It's fall. It's tradition time. It's time to roast the pumpkin seeds. Sit back and enjoy. This is what you've built up to. Take a few minutes, breathe it in, take it in, read a scary story, put in that horror movie you haven't watched in a while. This is time to just breathe it all in. You're a haunter, you deserve it. This is your moment right now. Your moment of haunt zen. So get out there and take it. For myself, well, I'm going to go carve myself a jack-o'-lantern right now. So in the meantime, happy Halloween, and keep every minute scary.
Get your Stormy Rant fix in 140 characters on Twitter at Big Scary Storm.
Hey, this is Josh Gates from Sci-Fi's Destination Truth, encouraging you to check out hauntminute.com.
Are you a fan of the alternative lifestyle? Do you like horror films and gaming reviews? How about drop-dead gorgeous ladies? If you answered yes, then you need to check out Stiff Mag. Stiff Mag is a bi-monthly horror, alternative culture, and entertainment publication that features our horror film reviews, our Tech from the Crypt and Graveyard Gaming features, killer reading, literary features, music reviews, columns, and of course our beautiful Graveyard Girls. For subscription information, visit stiffmag.com. That's stiffmag.com.
Charred walls of the damned. Avoid the lights on the Big Scary Show.
Attacking my
gather round and I'll elucidate on what goes on outside when it gets late. Long about midnight, the ghosts and banshees, they get together for their nightly jamboree. There's things with horns and saucer eyes. Some with fangs about this size.
Some are fat and some are thin.
And some don't even wear their skin. Oh, I'm telling you, brother, it's a frightful sight to see what goes on Halloween night.
Jerry Vane and Tim Tantrum, the Headless Man, on the Big Scary Show. As we slide back into the swamp where we hid the body, we would like to thank the following people and others. We'd like to thank Leslie Bannatyne and Chris Colstrom for coming in to the round table and talking about their books on Halloween. We'd like to thank Dog Soldier for bringing us yet another interview. We want to thank the owners of the Haunted Pyramids, hauntedpyramids.com. We want to thank Rex Hamilton for coming in and speaking with us about his haunted acting career. And thank you, Michael Graves. Be sure to catch him when he comes on tour near a town near you. And a very, very special thank you to Sam Pumpkin, whoever and whatever you are. Jimmy Talkington and Thornweb Designs, thornwebdesigns.com. Virgil Franklin, Master of the Ether Muse, at hauntaudio.com. Von Charon Productions, Von Charon, VONCHARON.com. Screamline Studios at screamlinestudios.com. We'd also like to thank the Four Ghosts. Storm, catch his ramblings at hauntminute.com. The Unknown Scare Actor, videos and more, unknownscareactor.com. The Haunt Rocker Jerry Vane, pick up his latest CD, The Attic, at jerryvane.com. And Drew Badger, actor, trainer, consultant, and more, rabidbadger.biz. Be sure to tell us what you think. Send feedback to us at feedback@bigscaryshow.com. And keep sending in those news items, news@bigscaryshow.com. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/bigscaryshow or on Twitter at bigscaryshow. And you can find us on iTunes. Search Big Scary Show in the iTunes Store. Tune in next time when we bring you the latest news and information from the world of haunting and horror. And thank you once again for listening. Without you, we are nothing. Good night, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and others. This is the Big Scary Show.
This is the Unknown Scare Actor. On behalf of all four co-hosts here on the Big Scary Show, we would like to wish each and every haunter a very scary, gory, gruesome, and happy Halloween.
This is Sam Pumpkin with the Cult of the Great Pumpkin, the Gourd's Prayer. Our Pumpkin, who art in his patch, hallowed be thine head. Our Samhain come, thy will be done on earth as it is Halloween. Give us this day our tasty treat, and forgive us our insincerity as we forgive those without costumes. And lead us to the best temptations while delivering us from banality. Your vine is the root of the creepy and the spooky, forever and ever, Samhain.
I don't know about you, but almost any time of the year, I am open for a good ghost story. I've always been like that. I've always been fascinated with things that go bump in the night, the paranormal, whatever you want to call it. I've always had a great fascination for it. So every single year on Halloween on my radio show, we share ghost stories from the callers. And that is what this is. This is a compilation of those ghost stories from our show, October 31st, 2011. This is our first caller. Go ahead.
The old Augusta Hospital, after it was abandoned, a portion of it was turned into an airsoft course.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some friends that worked in the airsoft course, and they told me that they would let me into the quote-unquote haunted part of the hospital after they shut down the course for the night.
Okay.
So me and my girlfriend went up there. I sat in the parking lot and put brand new batteries in my camera so we could take pictures to see if we caught anything strange on our photos.
Mm-hmm.
So we go into the hospital, and no joke, the second we cross the doors from the airsoft course to the haunted part of the hospital, my camera said that my batteries were dead and it quit working.
Mm-hmm.
So we go in, and we went into the cancer ward of the hospital. And this place is super creepy. It's like people just got up one day and left and decided not to come back. Like there was patient files everywhere, wheelchairs, beds, gurneys. Super creepy. So we go into this room, and it's painted pink, and it has this lady's picture all over it. And I started feeling really, really sick. Started feeling nauseous and lightheaded and almost fainted. So they were, like, helping carry me out of the room, and we sat in the hallway until I started feeling better. So then we were sitting there, and we were just asking questions to see if we could get any response. And I felt somebody start running their fingers through my hair, and it was pronounced enough that I could see my hair lifting off of my shoulder. And I thought it was the guy sitting next to me, so I said, Nick, cut it out. And he said, I'm not doing anything. And I said, that's really funny. Don't do that. He's like, no, seriously, I'm not doing anything. And I looked down. I had a hold of his left hand, and his right hand was holding a baseball bat that we had taken for protection because I guess you can hit a ghost with a baseball bat.
So unless he had a third hand...
Correct. And the only thing that I can think of is we were in the cancer section, so maybe the weird feelings that I got in the room, the only thing that I could think of is if I had gone through chemo, that's what I would feel like.
Sure.
And that somebody had lost their hair and was admiring my hair.
That's a very interesting observation.
And as soon as we left the hospital, my camera was fully charged. Started working the instant we left.
It's very peculiar that you hear that same story about batteries.
About batteries,
all the time. It's the same occurrence all the time with locations, just as you're describing. Thank you for the call. More ghost stories. Let's go to our next caller. Hello.
We moved into a home that was a little spooky to start with. My husband and I were laying in bed one night, and we had brought our newborn daughter into this home, and the walls weren't real well insulated between the bedrooms. My two girls' bedroom was next to ours. We heard our newborn daughter kind of start fussing, and we heard her bottle fall out of the crib. You could just about hear its steps. It fall out of the crib, hit the wall, and hit the floor. She started crying. She started fussing. And we thought, okay, well, why we both got up, we still can't figure it out. But we both got up to go in and check on her. And it took us a few minutes by the time, we got our robes on and our slippers. And by the time we got into their bedroom, she was tucked in. Now, if you know a newborn, when they start fussing, they'll wiggle and squiggle and cry and fuss a little bit. By the time we got into their bedroom, the bottle was in her mouth, propped up to her mouth, and she was completely tucked in around her neck, and she was sound asleep again. From that day on, it seemed like whatever this was protecting the kids, the girls.
Your ghost was almost a live-in nanny.
Yes, it was. It was like it protected our girls.
Very, very interesting. Stories of spirits that are good, and there's a lot of stories of spirits that are not so good. Some may even call them evil. You're on the air with the Tony Bruschi Halloween Special 2011. What is your story?
Okay, I just moved into my house. I've been here for about a year, and I've had a surveillance camera up, and I actually videotaped a ghost walking through the neighborhood.
You videotaped a ghost walking through the neighborhood. Describe this. What did you see?
Well, he's kind of transparent, that you can still see the form, and he walks across the road and up on the sidewalk, and there's a big, large light behind him, somebody's yard light, and he's dark in front of that, and then he still continues to walk down the sidewalk. I actually have the video up on YouTube if you want to see it.
I would love to see that. What do I need to search to find it?
Haunted Neighborhood, and it's in Moundridge, Kansas.
Haunted Neighborhood with real ghost, is that what it is?
That's it.
Because right now I'm seeing like an SUV. Okay, I see something walking or moving. Oh my gosh. It's like
cool?
it's like it glides. It almost looks like it glides past or almost through the vehicle.
Yes.
Let me ask you this: why did you have a security camera aiming out at that area?
Because I was filming my Suburban because I had it vandalized a couple of times.
Okay, that is a creepy video. That just
Isn't
gives
it
me
cool?
shivers. Yeah, I have seen a lot of videos that are said to portray a spirit or an entity or a ghost. And my friend, your video right there is one of them that just gives me the shivers. You see a lot of those, and you can almost very quickly pinpoint what's going on here. The camera's at a weird place or a weird angle, and there's something else going on that may not be so supernatural. But your video, that's one to check out. That is very, very spooky. Let's go to our next call. You are on the air.
My uncle and aunt had bought a mirror at a garage sale, and one night my uncle kept hearing somebody in the house. So he kept getting up and checking on the kids and checking the house, and they were all fine, and he didn't find anything. Well, for about 3 times he got up. When he comes back that 3rd time, the spirit had taken over his wife, and she was sitting against the headboard of the bed, and she was trying to tell him that it was the mirror, to get rid of the mirror, and the spirit would not let her do it. And finally, she was able to get it out. Well, then it made her attack him, and it went after him, and she was this little under 5 foot, little bitty person. And he grabbed the mirror and threw it out the back door, and when it shattered, she collapsed. And she was in bed for 2 weeks from the exhaustion of that thing taking her over. She remembers it taking her over and having no control. All he could think is, she's going to kill me, and then she's going to kill my kids.
I hear a lot of stories about mirrors and haunted mirrors. It makes you almost wonder, what is going on with those images that a mirror captures? How about you? But there's always been times where I'm in a bathroom late at night and the lights are very dim, and I purposely avoid gazing into that mirror. Maybe silly, but I don't want to ever find myself in a situation where I'm gazing into that mirror, glancing at that mirror, and I see someone else or something else in the room that shouldn't be there. Let's go to our next call. You're on the air.
I used to live in a really, real old house on North Market that had one of those real small servant stairways.
Okay.
And it would always get cold at a certain time of the night. And one day I was going up to the attic to get something, and there was a person standing up there.
A person standing at the top of the stairway or in the attic?
Yeah.
Could you make out what the person was wearing or what the person looked like?
She looked like a slave.
How so? Like, describe what you saw.
She was a person. She had her hair back in a bandana. Her face was tinted black. I did do some research on the house, and it ended that one of the servants had fallen down the stairs.
And died? On the very same stairwell that you saw this woman?
Yes, the servant stairs. Yeah, because we had one huge staircase, but then there was one off the kitchen or the pantry, whatever you want to call it, that was like real narrow, that went the full length of the house from the top to the bottom.
Wow, very interesting. When you hear stories like that, you almost wonder what exactly is that, especially when they're in the same area where they would have passed away at. Why are they still in that exact same area if they're...
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah. I had a similar situation when I lived in an apartment. There was a stairwell that was on the wall just behind my bed on the other side of the wall, and it had been said many times that people would see the image of a woman basically floating up and down that stairwell carrying a baby. And apparently at some point in time there had been an accident where a woman had fallen down the stairs with her child, and both had died on that stairwell, but people continue to see that same repetition of that image going up and down that stairwell over and over and over. And it's curious, because it's almost like the entity or whatever it is isn't conscious of what it's doing. It's just this residual energy that goes and replays itself, and like a videotape of some sort. Let's go to our next caller. What's your story?
When I was 3, so this has been years ago, I was moving in with my grandmother, and I can remember one night that we heard something in the basement that sounded like chains dragging across the basement floor.
What sort of a house was this?
This is an old rock house that was built in the 1880s that was actually burial grounds were disturbed when they built the house there, and so now they will haunt that house. I can remember hearing chains rattling on the basement floor, like you had a big tow chain and you were dragging it across the basement floor.
Sure.
And so my grandmother called one of her friends who was full-blooded Cherokee Indian. He said to go out and shoot over the house 3 times with a shotgun, not a rifle, and that it would never bother you again. He did that,
and the change never happened again.
Can performing a ritual make an entity or a spirit go away? Something to think about. Many cultures and traditions have very specific steps that are said to be taken to rid oneself of an entity or a spirit. Does that actually work? In this case, it sounds like it did. Let's go to our next ghost story caller. You're on the air. Hi.
There's a housing addition that was built on top of the old Mount Carmel Academy, which was built in the 1890s.
Okay.
And when these houses were being built on this former property, there was one of the neighbors that we met, and their little boy at the time was 12, and he had a basement bedroom, and he kept saying that ladies walked through the basement and through the room, and their dog would bark every night when they first moved in. They hadn't been there for maybe a week, and he kept seeing these ladies. He described them as ladies walking through the room and through the basement. Well, of course, they just thought he was. Now, he had no idea that there was a Catholic school on this location built in the 1890s.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, about a week later, their dog died, and the vet said that it was a heart attack. Well, about a month later, I had actually picked up some pictures from the Cape and Mount Carmel school of what the area used to look like, and they had donated some pictures since we lived there. The little neighbor boy was looking through them one night with his parents, and he said, "Mom, those are the ladies, that looks like the ladies that went through the basement all the time."
It's one of those stories where, children, they, of course, can make up stories quite a bit, but that's one of those stories where the feeling in the deepness of your gut, you just know that little boy is very likely telling the truth about what he was seeing. He saw those nuns going through his room. It sounds like another one of those stories of the residual energy and it replaying itself over and over and over throughout time, almost unconsciously. Very interesting. You're on the air. What's your story?
It's been a few years back, but we had a slide-in camper.
Okay.
And we was down at Call Lake, and wind was not blowing. We're sitting at the little booth by a window, and I had the window open. And all of a sudden, the screen came off and started floating around inside. Wife and I were ducking underneath it, and it was by the back screen door. I opened the door, and it went out and laid out in the grass.
When you say floating around inside,
yeah,
describe that. Like what?
It was just floating in the air.
Suspended, sitting there?
It was just kind of hover, moving around inside our camper.
And then it went right back out the window and landed outside.
I went to the back door and opened it, and it went out the back door and laid down.
What did you do after that?
Well, I didn't know what to do. Friends already seen it come out camping with it, and they wondered what happened. I told them. They said, "Oh, must have been the wind," but there wasn't any wind.
Well, even wind wouldn't suspend something like that in the air.
I have no idea, but there wasn't any wind blowing.
Well, have you ever seen wind suspend a screen physically in the air like that?
No, I haven't.
That wouldn't be wind, my friend.
I don't know. It would. There was no wind, but it just floated around inside and hovered, and it went towards the back door. But I opened up the screen door, and it just went on out the back door.
So what do you think? What do you think it was?
I have no idea. But I know I was a little leery about picking it up, putting it back, but we sold it shortly after that.
For good reason.
Yes, I don't know what it was.
I have a good guess as to what it was. I don't know of any sort of pressure change or wind event that would cause something that heavy to suspend itself in the air without the rest of the room being in massive disrepair. That's very, very peculiar. Let's go to our next caller. You're on the air.
There was an old mansion where I used to live in upstate New York.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was about 3 or 4 of us that got together, and every now and then the person, that caretaker of it, they'd let us go through. Well, we happened to find this one door, and it was, you would have never noticed it was a, what's the word I want to use? It was, it looked like the wall, but we pressed it, and there was a wall, and it opened up, and we went through this little alleyway, like in behind the wall.
Sure, so it was a secret door.
Yeah, and oh my God, we were walking through it. It gives me goosebumps thinking about it. And there was cobwebs hanging down and everything. And we got halfway through the little hallway, and all of a sudden, because we had like a flashlight, our flashlight went out. That's battery operated. It went out. And there was a breeze, you could feel it. It didn't take us long to get out of there.
And you were in a confined area where there wouldn't have been a way for a breeze to come in.
No, there wasn't.
That's
it's
very spooky, especially with a flashlight going out, because that's one of those things you always hear of. If there's some sort of energy or entity in the area, it just sucks all the life out of electronic devices, especially batteries.
And it did. It just went off. And then when we turned around, we started running backward. We come through, and we were, I'd say maybe 20 feet from where we come in. The light come back on. It was like, oh, no, you ain't coming through here. You know? It was spooky. I mean, it was crazy. And I was probably about 14 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it still sticks with you. It's like, oh, my God, you're going through this secret, hallway in behind everything. And then all of a sudden, your light goes off. And there was about 4 of us girls, my sisters and a friend of ours. And then, I mean, there was no way nobody could have done that. Because we thought about it afterwards. But was there somebody in there? How would it do the flashlight?
I wonder if whatever it was trying to keep you away from something, and what was it?
Yeah, we still to this day, we never went back.
I don't blame you. You're lucky that all you experienced was that cold chill in such an environment. That could have been an experience that could have ended in a very, very, very different way. One more call for our 2011 ghost stories. I'm Tony Bruschi. Let's hear yours.
12 years ago, my niece died in the apartment that I had built into my barn.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple days after she had passed away, I got up to go make coffee, and I walked through the living room, and she was sitting in the rocking chair. And I told her, I said, let me go make the coffee, babe, and I'll be right back so we can visit. And I got partway making the coffee, and it dawned on me that was her spirit, and I ran back in there, but she was already gone. I just kicked myself for not paying more attention.
So you had just kind of gone in there nonchalantly, thought, oh, here she is, because it was so routine for her to be there.
Exactly. It was very routine for her to come over and just walk on in and sit and wait to visit.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, messed up big time on that one, because she didn't ever come back and see me again.
What do you think she wanted to say?
I am not. It was a suicide, so
okay.
I'm not real sure, but I surely would have liked to have found out.
Would you say it's at all reassuring at all, though? I mean, to know in the way that she passed.
Right, she seemed content at that point and doing the routine things. Yeah, it really was comforting. Other than I would have liked to have known what was going on, other than reading her journal. So yeah,
but just being able to see her, almost being able to know that she's still out there on some plane.
Exactly, she's still with us.
It makes you wonder just what are these stories all about? Are they our loved ones that have passed on? Are they good spirits and bad spirits and pure evil spirits? Are they just energy that are on a plane or is on a plane that we don't understand and don't really know about yet with modern science, that just continues to repeat itself over and over, whether we like it or not, and every once in a while, due to whatever atmospheric condition that's present at the time, makes itself visible to our own eyes? These are the questions that I've always asked when it came to what we call ghosts, and still the same questions that I ask to this day. Sometimes sharing stories makes you think that you'll get closer to finding that answer, but I find the more stories that I hear, the more unsure I am of the answer to that question. For our 2011 Ghost Stories, I'm Tony Bruschi. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to my breakdown. I hope I didn't scare you. That's just the way we are when we come down. We sweat and laugh and scream here, 'cause life is just a dream here. You know inside you feel right at home here. Welcome to my breakdown. Whoa. You're welcome to my nightmare, yeah. Welcome to my nightmare. I think you're gonna like it. I think you're gonna feel you belong. We sweat and laugh and scream here, 'cause life is just a dream. You know inside you feel right at home here. Welcome to my nightmare. Welcome to my breakdown.
stuck in someplace. Over here. Come on. Open the door. Oh, I no way I'm going in there. I don't care. Just open it. Let's go in. Come on, man. Okay. Whoa, look at this place, man. It's cool. I could like to leave. It's like a haunted house. Hey, go on. Uh-oh.
Welcome, boys. Come right in.
Please come in. You're welcome here. Mind the cobwebs and the bones. May we invite you to spend the night. Make yourself at home. Step this way. Here's the living room. Though dead room is actually more correct. 'Cause there hasn't been a living soul here since Grandpa broke his neck. In our haunted house, we'll treat you like one of us. But in our haunted house, that could be hazardous. Browse around the kitchen, have a spoon, a fork, a knife. You must excuse those ketchup stains. We ate someone last night. Here is your big bedroom, dears. You'll love the creaky bed. You'll sleep just fine, but when you wake, you still may feel half dead. In our haunted house, the butler is a ghost. The upstairs maid's been buried for years, and the chauffeur's comatose. In our haunted house, our hospitality is something of which we're very proud. Oh, do you take poison in your tea? Don't let the spider webs mess up your head. Don't mind the piano playing with no one there. The crumbling bookshelves covered with dust. One or two headless bodies, what's all the fuss? The dreadful pounding, the screams and moans. It's just a typical night at home.
Things go through the walls. You might see sights that chill the soul. Be sure to wear a shawl.
We'd love you to come in. Stay a while and
Play. Once you finally settle in, you'll never go away. We'll make sure of that.
Don't we love it now? Everybody's waiting for the next surprise. Skeleton Jack may get you in a and scream like a banshee. Make you jump out of your skin. This is Halloween. Everybody scream. Won't you please make way for a very special guy? Our man Jack is king of the pumpkin patch. Everyone hail to the pumpkin king now. This is Halloween. This is Halloween. 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 Halloween.
In this town we call home, everyone hail to the pumpkin song.
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire, burn and cold and bubble. Double, double, toil and trouble, something wicked this way comes. Fire, guilt and toll from all of that and tongue of dog. And the smoke and blood would steam. This is second, now let's breathe. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire, burn and cold and bubble. Double, double, toil and trouble, something wicked this way comes. Hear the cauldron boil and bake, fill it over fanny snake, scale of dragon, tooth of wood, witch's mummy, more and